if you're going to store and hay, straw, things like that, you have to have it aired out to some extent, otherwise it's going to get moldy, and that's no good. And then the animals can't feed off that. So come on in, need you inside because I'm going to open that. Thank you. Yes, sir. Okay. So it's not uncommon to see all this. This has changed over time. There was probably a loft area, and sometimes you can see there would be loft areas. They'd have an open door and a hangout there where they would actually bring the store in, bring it out through that way. But not here. They didn't have a big farm. But on bigger farms, you'd see that sort of thing. What's unusual about this, to some extent, of course, is the door. Notice that this is the way you close and open it, this little piece of wood here. So if I want to open it, I move it, see that little knot up there?
Oh, yeah.
It kind of falls in place, and if I go to close it,
on our barns, our barns was built around the turn of the century, 1900, 1913. We still use that.
Do you still lose that concept?
Yep.
That's it.
Yep, both of our barns that we have.
Okay.
That concept.
Yeah, and one thing about this barn that's really unusual, I've never seen it anywhere else, and I don't even know if it exists. Stay there. If you look up the book here, they have commemorative beams, and the beams commemorate the different barns that they had at this site. So look up here, the first one, and the second one, probably the first one may even have been one of the first house, and then you get the first barn, and then there's another beam that's not hewn. Those are called hewn, H-E-W-N, hewn beams, because you take an adze and you make them square, and you can even see the adze marks on some of those. And this one, and then there's the charred one from the barn that burned down.
Oh, yeah.
And then the last one that you see there is from this barn. So what they did was all the barns that they had at this site, for whatever reason, they made a commemorative piece up there. I've never seen that anywhere else. So it's very unusual. And also it's a good indicator when they said the barn burned down, we have no proof, but the only proof we have is right there, and that's good enough proof. And we all know as historians, we all look for proof. You can't just say something, you got to prove it to me. And here they did. So we had that barn. So that's kind of interesting. And like I said, we can't find a barn, and I have a feeling it was built on this site. And when we go back out, take a look at some of the larger stones in the foundation, you'll see they're blackened. And even if the barn wasn't here, they would have taken those stones and not thrown them away. They would have used them in the rebuilding of another barn. And therefore, then they used it here. And the old barn that they had was probably smaller. Especially when you look at that, I mean, that's a pretty big beam, but certainly, we're not looking at a barn that's gigantic. It could have been as big as this, but I have a feeling it was a little bit smaller, and they made this a little bit bigger because they had the opportunity to do that. And but you'll look at the stones, and if the stones are blackened, then it's quite possible that they just simply, the barn burned down here, they kept the stones here, they reconfigured them, and then they built this barn on top of the old one. And the only way to know that would be to move this barn, dig a hole here, get down in there, start looking, that kind of stuff. But there is an underneath floor. And the underneath floor is where they kept the animals. That's all been changed, but that was a little barn from the area where the animals, the cows, cattle, whatever they had, were kept. So this is really indicative of a German homestead in very many ways from the 1890s. So, okay, that's all I wanted to show you because this.